Kindness is often celebrated as one of the greatest virtues, but what if I told you it could be ruining your life? In today's video, we're diving into a provocative and eye-opening topic, 10 ways how kindness will ruin your life, through the lens of Stoicism. While kindness has its place, Stoic philosophy teaches us that unchecked kindness can lead to more harm than good. Stick around to discover how embracing this ancient wisdom can help you live a more balanced and fulfilling life. Let's get started. Number 1. People will think you are weak and treat you that way. Open with a relatable scenario. Someone being underestimated or treated poorly because they're perceived as weak. Briefly introduce the idea that perceptions of weakness can influence how others treat us. 2. Understanding weakness. Define what is commonly perceived as weakness, e.g., being too kind, quiet, indecisive, etc. Emphasize that these perceptions often stem from societal norms or personal biases. 3. The consequences of being perceived as weak. Discuss how people might take advantage, ignore, or undermine someone they see as weak. Share examples, such as in the workplace, relationships, or social settings. The power of self-presentation. Explain the importance of how we present ourselves, body language, tone of voice, and assertiveness. Highlight that projecting confidence and strength can change how others perceive and treat us. 5. Balancing kindness and strength. Clarify that being strong doesn't mean being aggressive or rude. Offer tips on how to be kind without compromising your self-respect or boundaries. 6. Changing perceptions. Over time, address how to alter long-standing perceptions others may have of you. Encourage consistency in behavior and setting clear boundaries. 7. Conclusion and takeaways. Summarize the key points. Encourage viewers to reflect on their own self-presentation and how they want to be perceived. End with a call to action. Challenge viewers to make a small change in how they project themselves to others. Would you like to expand on any of these points or add something specific? Number 2. Too high of hopes for people. Introduce the topic by discussing how it's natural to have hopes for others, but setting them too high can lead to disappointment. Briefly, mention how Stoic philosophy can help manage expectations. 2.1. Understanding the nature of expectations. Explain what expectations are and how they form. Discuss how they can be both conscious and unconscious, often rooted in our own desires and assumptions. Point 2. The impact of high expectations on relationships. Explore how expecting too much from others can strain relationships. Use examples of common scenarios where high hopes can cause friction, such as in friendships, family, or workplace dynamics. Point 3. Recognizing your control and lack thereof. Highlight the Stoic principle of focusing on what you can control, your own actions and reactions. Explain that you can't control others' actions, and managing your expectations is part of self-control. Point 4. The role of compassion and empathy. Discuss how understanding others' limitations and circumstances can help adjust expectations. Encourage viewers to practice empathy, seeing things from others' perspectives. 6.5. Setting realistic expectations. Provide practical tips on how to set more realistic and balanced expectations of others. Emphasize the importance of clear communication and understanding mutual capabilities and limitations. 7. Point 6. Letting go and practicing. Acceptance. Share how accepting people as they are, rather than how we wish them to be, can lead to more peaceful interactions. Discuss the importance of letting go of rigid expectations and being open to outcomes. 8. Conclusion. Applying Stoic principles to expectations. Recap the key points and tie them back to Stoic principles. Encourage viewers to reflect on their own expectations and make conscious adjustments. End with a motivational note or quote, inviting viewers to practice this mindset in their daily lives. Would you like more details or specific examples for any of these points? Number 3. You'll make people think twice. Start with a statement that grabs attention like, ever wondered why some people are unshakable in their opinions of you while others change their minds? Purpose. Introduce the concept of influencing others' perceptions in a positive way. 2. Authenticity is key content. Explain how being genuine and true to yourself earns respect and can change how people perceive you. Example: share a personal story or a famous example where authenticity led to a positive shift in perception. 3. Consistency in actions and words. Content. Emphasize the importance of aligning your actions with your words. Consistency builds trust and makes people reevaluate their preconceived notions. Tip: highlight small, actionable ways to practice consistency in daily life. 4th show, don't tell content. Illustrate how demonstrating your values through actions is more impactful than just talking about them. Example: use a scenario where actions spoke louder than words, altering someone's perception. 5. Understanding and empathy. Content. Discuss how putting yourself in others' shoes can change the dynamics of any relationship or interaction. Tip: suggest active listening and thoughtful responses as tools to build empathy. 6. Embracing your flaws. Content. Talk about how embracing and owning up to your flaws can make others see you in a more relatable and human light. Example: share a relatable anecdote or example of a public figure who turned flaws into strengths. 7. Resilience and adaptability. Content. Highlight the importance of resilience and the ability to adapt when faced with criticism or misunderstanding. Call to action. Encourage viewers to practice resilience in their own lives to continuously redefine how others see them. Conclusion. Leave a lasting impression. Summary. Recap the key points briefly. Final thought. Inspire viewers to apply these principles in their lives, not to manipulate, but to genuinely make people think twice about who they are. Would you like to add any specific examples or a unique angle to this outline? Number 4. People will only expect you to give them something. Briefly introduce the idea that people often expect others to give or do something for them. Mention how this ties into Stoic principles like understanding the nature of others and managing expectations. 2. The nature of expectations. Discuss how expectations are natural but can lead to disappointment. Explain that people's expectations are more about their desires and less about our obligations. 3rd Stoic insight. Control what you can. Introduce the Stoic concept of the dichotomy of control. Emphasize that we can't control others' expectations, but can control our responses to them. 4. Managing your own expectations. Talk about the importance of managing our own expectations of others. Use Stoic teachings to highlight that expecting less from others can lead to a more content life. 5. Setting boundaries. Explain the significance of setting boundaries in relationships. Highlight how Stoicism teaches us to prioritize our own values and not be swayed by external expectations. 6. Practicing detachment from praise and criticism. Discuss the Stoic practice of being indifferent to praise or criticism, as it aligns with not being driven by others' expectations. Encourage viewers to focus on their own actions and values instead of external validation. 7. Applying Stoic principles in daily life. Provide practical steps on how to apply these Stoic principles when faced with others' expectations. Conclude by reinforcing that we can choose to act according to our principles rather than others' demands. Would you like to adjust or expand on any of these points? Number 5. Your goals will need to be taken into account. Briefly introduce Stoicism and its relevance to goal setting. Mention how goals that align with Stoic values lead to a more fulfilling life. 2.1. Focus on what you can control. Explain the Stoic concept of the dichotomy of control. Emphasize setting goals based on actions within your control, not outcomes. 3.2. Set virtue-driven goals. Describe the importance of virtue in Stoicism: wisdom, courage, justice, temperance. Encourage setting goals that reflect these virtues rather than external rewards. Point 3. Embrace discomfort and challenges. Highlight the Stoic practice of embracing adversity as a path to growth. Suggest setting goals that push boundaries and involve facing fears. Point 5. Practice detachment from results. Discuss the importance of detachment from success or failure. Focus on the effort and the learning process rather than the end result. 6.5. Reflect and adjust. Regularly encourage regular self-reflection to assess progress. Be open to adjusting goals as you learn and grow. 7.6. Use negative visualization. Introduce the Stoic practice of negative visualization to prepare for setbacks. Visualize obstacles and plan how you will overcome them. 8. Conclusion. Living in accord with nature. Wrap up by connecting goal setting with living in harmony with nature. Remind viewers that goals should lead to a life of purpose and inner peace. Bonus tip: call to action. Encourage viewers to start setting their Stoic-inspired goals. Suggest a simple exercise or journal prompt to get started. Would you like to go deeper into any of these points? Or is there anything specific you want to emphasize in your video? Number 6. You could end up getting hooked on something. Briefly introduce the topic, explaining how easy it is to get hooked on habits, substances, or even mindsets. Highlight that these hooks can be both positive and negative, but this video will focus on the harmful ones. 2. Recognize the signs. Early discuss the early signs of addiction or obsession, such as losing time, neglecting responsibilities, or the inability to stop even when facing negative consequences. Emphasize awareness as the first step in prevention. 3. Understand the root causes. Explore why people get hooked: stress, escape, boredom, peer pressure, etc. Mention how understanding the root cause can help in addressing the issue rather than just the symptoms. 4. Set boundaries and limits. Talk about the importance of setting boundaries with yourself, whether it's time limits on social media, moderation in drinking, or maintaining work-life balance. Boundaries help maintain control and prevent slipping into addictive behaviors. 5. Develop healthy alternatives. Suggest healthy alternatives to replace negative hooks. For example, exercise, hobbies, or learning new skills can provide the same sense of fulfillment without the negative side effects. 6. Seek support when needed. Highlight the importance of seeking help when you feel overwhelmed. This could be from friends, family, or professionals. Sometimes, acknowledging the need for support is the strongest step. 7. Practice mindfulness and self-control. Conclude with a lesson on practicing mindfulness and self-control. 2 key skills that help keep our impulses in check. Discuss techniques like meditation, journaling, or simply taking a pause to reflect before acting. Closing remarks. Summarize the points and encourage viewers to assess their own lives for any hooks they might need to address. Remind them that the goal is not to live without enjoyment, but to avoid being controlled by unhealthy habits. Would you like me to refine any points or add more detail to specific sections?
Number 7. Attracting takers over givers. Explain the difference between takers and givers. Takers are those who prioritize their own needs, often at the expense of others, while givers tend to prioritize others' needs, sometimes to their own detriment. 2. Self-reflection, identifying your role. Discuss the importance of understanding one's own tendencies. Are you naturally a giver? And if so, how does this impact your interactions with others? 3. The attraction of takers. Highlight common traits that attract takers. Examples include being overly accommodating, having poor boundaries, or a strong desire to be liked. 4. Understanding boundaries. Emphasize the importance of setting and maintaining healthy boundaries. Teach viewers how to say no and protect their time and energy without guilt. 5. Changing your approach, valuing yourself. Encourage viewers to evaluate their self-worth and practice self-respect. Explain that valuing oneself can naturally deter takers who seek to exploit generosity. 6. Identifying and managing takers. Provide tips on how to identify takers early in relationships. Offer strategies for managing or distancing oneself from these individuals. 7. Cultivating relationships with givers. End with the importance of seeking and nurturing relationships with other givers. Offer actionable steps, like practicing reciprocity, looking for mutual respect, and engaging in communities that value giving. Would you like to expand on any of these points, or tailor them to a specific audience? Number 8. Overstretching your resources can lead to burnout. Define burnout and its impact on mental, physical, and emotional well-being. Briefly introduce how overstretching resources, like time, energy, and finances, can lead to burnout. 2. Identifying overstretching. Explain what overstretching resources looks like. Taking on too many tasks, neglecting rest, or overcommitting. Include signs to watch for, such as constant fatigue, lack of motivation, and feeling overwhelmed. 3. The myth of endless productivity. Discuss the misconception that working harder and longer will always yield better results. Highlight the diminishing returns of pushing beyond your limits and how this leads to inefficiency. 4. Understanding your limits. Encourage viewers to recognize and respect their personal limits. Talk about the importance of self-awareness and setting boundaries to prevent overstretching. 5. The role of rest and recovery. Emphasize the necessity of taking breaks and allowing time for recovery. Explain how rest is crucial for maintaining productivity and avoiding burnout. 6. Practical tips to manage resources. Offer actionable advice. Prioritize tasks, delegate when possible, and learn to say no. Introduce time management techniques like the Pomodoro technique or Eisenhower matrix. 7. Long-term strategies for sustainable productivity. Discuss the importance of sustainable work habits, regular exercise, proper nutrition, and mindfulness practices. Encourage building a lifestyle that supports well-being rather than one that exhausts resources. Conclusion. Summarize key points and remind viewers that maintaining balance is key to avoiding burnout. Encourage them to evaluate their current commitments and make adjustments as needed to preserve their energy and resources. Would you like me to expand on any of these points or help with something specific for the video? Number 9. Misinterpretation of kindness as a weakness in competitive environments. Briefly introduce the concept. Kindness is often mistaken for weakness, especially in competitive environments like workplaces, sports, or business. Highlight why this is a common misinterpretation and the potential consequences. 2. Defining kindness and weakness. Clarify what kindness truly means. Empathy, understanding, and respect for others. Contrast it with weakness, lacking strength, resolve, or confidence. Emphasize that kindness is a strength, not a liability. 3. Origins of the misinterpretation. Explore why kindness might be seen as weakness, cultural conditioning, past experiences, or misunderstanding of assertiveness. Discuss how competitive environments often reward aggressive behavior, leading to this misconception. The power of kindness in leadership. Use examples of successful leaders who are kind but firm. Explain how kindness can foster loyalty, teamwork, and a positive culture. Point out that leaders who are kind often inspire more commitment and productivity. Fifth, kindness as a strategic advantage. Show how kindness can be a strategic tool, building alliances, reducing conflict, and improving negotiations. Discuss the long-term benefits of kind behavior over aggressive tactics in sustaining relationships and networks. 6. Common scenarios and how to handle misinterpretation. Provide examples of situations where kindness might be misinterpreted, e.g., a manager being lenient. Offer strategies for maintaining kindness while setting boundaries and showing assertiveness. Teach viewers how to correct others' misinterpretations without compromising their values. 7. Conclusion. Embracing kindness as strength. Summarize the key points. Kindness is not a weakness, but a form of emotional intelligence and strength. Encourage viewers to embrace kindness and challenge the status quo in their competitive environments. Call to action. Be a model of kindness and strength, showing others the true power of compassionate leadership. Would you like to dive deeper into any of these points or add specific examples? Number 10. Loss of personal boundaries leads to being taken advantage of. Briefly define personal boundaries. Explain why boundaries are important for mental and emotional well-being. 2. What are personal boundaries? Define personal boundaries, emotional, physical, psychological. Discuss how they help us protect our values and self-respect. 3. Signs of weak boundaries. Difficulty saying no, feeling overwhelmed or exhausted by others' demands, letting others dictate your decisions or actions. 4. Consequences of weak boundaries. Being taken advantage of. Examples: excessive requests for time or resources, loss of personal autonomy and self-respect, increased stress and burnout. 5. How to recognize when you're being taken advantage of. Examples of behaviors from others that indicate exploitation, personal feelings of discomfort or resentment. 6. Strategies for setting and maintaining boundaries. Clear and assertive communication, e.g., using I statements. Learning to say no without guilt, seeking support from friends or professionals if needed. 7. Conclusion. Recap. The importance of maintaining healthy boundaries. Encourage viewers to reflect on their own boundaries and make necessary adjustments. Call to action. Like, subscribe, and share if they found the video helpful. Feel free to adjust or expand on any of these points based on your style and the needs of your audience. Thanks for watching. We've explored how excessive or misplaced kindness can lead to unintended consequences and how Stoic principles offer a more balanced approach. Remember, Stoicism isn't about abandoning kindness, but rather about practicing it in a way that aligns with your values and doesn't compromise your well-being. If you found this perspective valuable, give the video a thumbs up, and don't forget to subscribe for more insights on philosophy and personal development. Drop your thoughts in the comments below. How do you balance kindness with Stoic principles in your life? Until next time, stay thoughtful and stay Stoic.